Today is Earth Day. Think of it as a day devoted to our planet. It draws attention to environmental issues and climate change, and around 1 billion people celebrate it the world over. Children are asked to pick up litter, people are urged to turn off the lights, and corporate giants boost their so-called green campaigns. But is any of this helping? In today's rapidly warming world, is Earth Day still relevant? Here's a report.
The year was 1970. On April 22nd, 20 million people took the streets of U.S. cities. They organized mass protests over damage being done to the planet. And this is how Earth Day emerged, an international day devoted to our planet. This was far from the first environment action the world had seen, but the protest left an indelible mark on climate policy. By the end of the decade, a stream of environmental laws were passed in the U.S. 2 decades later, around 200 million people from 141 countries joined efforts to boost recycling. And now, more than 5 decades later, about 1 billion celebrate Earth Day the world over. But is it still relevant? Today, celebrating Earth Day mostly means telling school-going children to turn off the lights for an hour, or buying into corporate greenwashing and its so-called sustainability sales. Does Earth Day even have a point anymore? Take this year's theme, for instance. It is Our Power, Our Planet. It calls for everyone to unite around renewable energy and triple the global generation of clean electricity by 2030 to reach net zero carbon emissions. Achieving this goal is considered crucial by experts to limit the rise in global temperatures. But it is an ambitious goal. So far, the pursuit of net zero emissions is a resounding failure. Coal, oil, and natural gas production are at record highs. Emissions of greenhouse gases continue to rise. Nation after nation is lagging behind in its environment goals. And the home of Earth Day, the U.S., is backtracking on its net zero path instead of fast-tracking the progress. Since taking office in January, President Donald Trump has set in motion a series of rollbacks on American climate policy. So this is the world we live in. It is enough to make us lose hope in progress. But this is also the very reason why Earth Day remains important even today. The past 10 years have been the warmest years on record, with 2024 leading the pack. 40% of Earth's surfaces are considered degraded. We are losing animals and plants at a rate not seen in 10 million years. Now, more than 1 million species are on the brink of extinction. Climate disasters are becoming worse and more frequent. And this is not just an environmental problem. It is also an economic one. Over the last decade, the world suffered at least $2.8 trillion in loss due to climate change. This includes everything from infrastructure damage to rise in diseases due to global warming. If we continue on this path, by 2050, the world faces $12.5 trillion in losses and more than 14 million deaths. So what can you do about it? There are 2 things to understand. First, climate change is a symptom of something much bigger. The fact that humans are consuming resources faster than they can regenerate. So resources are becoming scarce, and more waste is produced than the nature can absorb. So cut down where you can. And secondly, know that this is not a personal problem. Your paper straws or toilet papers are a very small part of the problem. Climate change needs institutional change. Global warming is a policy problem, and those fueling it must be held accountable. So about time we change how we fight climate change. Because Earth Day won't work unless we do.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
The Prime Minister Modi.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Alternative to
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
For both sides.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.